I would like to call the October 9th, 2025 Wall City Council meeting to order. Carolyn, would you please call roll?
Stan Anderson,
Here.
Morgan,
Here.
Houston,
Here.
Williams,
Here,
Hawk, Mike Anderson,
Here.
Hoffman.
Here.
We do have a problem.
with that, let us stand and say the Pledge of Allegiance. And Sergeant, would you lead us for us? Our lieutenant, sorry.
That's right.
Lieutenant.
Pledge of allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Do we have any order of business for emergencies?
No,
Is there any attendance on Zoom?
no,
This evening, we have Lieutenant Kedrick with us, and would you please give your police or your deputy report?
Yes, of course. Thank you for having me on the phone, man. So I'm just gonna go over the month of September. I'll go over the hours first and some of the calls that kind of stick out to me that I thought would find importance to you guys as a community. So the total hours of law enforcement in the community for September was 550 hours from the wall deputies. The number that sticks out to me is the city hours from other deputies. And what that means is that was at 0, so which is good because that means that no deputies from the wall were coming out to calls. And I know that that can be a long stretch when somebody calls for a call that travel time. So with 0 hours from this report, it looks like that every call was handled by a wall deputy. So that's of importance to you folks. Another thing that I noticed that was really important is we had 41 warnings on traffic stops and 11 citations. So I think that the deputies have been doing a good job of trying to hit the areas that there's some speeding. And it looks like they're tackling most of those problems with just warnings and not citations. So I think everybody likes that. So that looks like that's good. The other thing that kind of sticks out is they did 20 different community activities throughout the month. So they call out on something in the community that they're dealing with as far as a non-law enforcement item. So I found that was kind of a big number. So I thought that was cool. So I'll stand for any questions if any of the council or the mayor have anything for me. And you guys aren't done with me. I'll be back later.
Anyone have any questions?
Any concerns that I can take a note and speak with the supervisor that was out there?
Any concerns?
Been doing a great job, so no concern.
Thank you, Mr. Hall.
It's just good to see more than one deputy vehicle in town.
Yeah, that's what we're trying to do. And I guess maybe this is a good time to talk about this. I'll touch on it a little bit more when we talk about the contract things. So this last year, what I've done is, we have a program that will kind of show us what they call heat spots. And that's basically when calls kind of cluster and what times they are. So instead of following, what we've traditionally done is follow the rapid shift schedules for our scheduling out here, just to kind of make it easier, honestly, to kind of schedule across the board. But I found that wasn't necessarily best for the town. So what I did is I took those times and kind of based the schedules off that time. There will be some deputies sometimes that are on at 6 in the morning, but in December 21st, in the middle of the winter, there's really no point in having a deputy here at 6 in the morning. It might be better fit at 7:30 or 8 o'clock closer to the school, and then making sure we have somebody when school's getting out. Same with the summer. I think I spoke with the mayor and she had said, I drove up Main Street and there's no sense in having anybody out at 6 in the morning. There's nobody on Main Street. So we tried to base those schedules on a better time that would fit the community out here and what's going on. So I think that that's been effective. Obviously Sergeant Harris out here more than I am, then he kind of relays any problems that are going on. So we try to adjust it from that, but it's one thing we're trying to be more receptive about is moving the schedules around and try to have the deputies here when they're needed. So that's one thing we've worked on, and hopefully you guys have noticed it. So thank you.
Good job, thank you. Okay, with that, I will call for a motion for the agenda. However, we need, to add the ambulance financials because they didn't get, on the agenda and they should be under the review. So would I have a motion to adopt the agenda as amended to add the ambulance financials?
So move.
It's been moved
Second.
and it was seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Okay, with that then, and, I would also ask if there's any conflict of interest for anyone this evening. Hearing or seeing none, I would ask for a motion to approve the minutes from the September 18th, 2025 city council meeting.
So move.
Zach has moved,
Right.
Stan seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. Also included in your packet was the City of Wall Fire Department Library and Cemetery claims. The City of Wall, totals to $115,415.66. The Fire Department is $16,106.19. The library is $436.17, and cemetery is $16.97. Is there any questions or comments on any of the claims that are listed?
Had one for Garrett, I guess, that $12,000 on the fire truck, was that something major or?
Yeah, there was a bunch of valves that were working, drain valves.
Drain bells,
Yep.
that just stuck out.
And then, and that was also a service too. They went through and changed oil and it's been a while since.
Good question. Any others? Do I have a motion to approve the City of Wall Fire Department Library and Cemetery claims?
So moved.
Stan moved
Second.
and Mike seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. All right. For your review in the packet was the on-call schedule, the employee overtime, sick and vacation report. Also is the water usage report. The sales tax and BBB. Sales tax report, or tax report. And both the expense and revenue, documents to date. And the ambulance financials. Are there any questions or concerns on any of those documents that you would like to have explained or visit about? Okay, seeing none, that brings us to, the superintendent report. Dr.
Thank you for putting me up on the agenda, Carolyn. We have parent-teachers conferences tonight, and we're trying a new format for our teachers here. It's a format I've always done, where we have one night from 2 to 8, so we let kids out early today, and then we do parent-teachers conferences from 2 to 8. We also have a fundraiser going on because we have a teacher whose father is working through cancer, and so they're doing a chili feed and a bake sale for him. 5 weeks of school, homecoming done. Things are going fast, I feel like, good and fast. We have a board meeting coming up this Monday night. October 20, let's back up. We've got several things that are a little bit bigger things. October 15th, which is this coming Wednesday, I take students down to Chagrin State College for a scholastic contest. Because my mother passed away this last weekend, I won't be attending that because I'm going to do funeral work. So I've got another, Kelly's gonna take them, 35 kids going to Chagrin for that contest. So that's kind of exciting for them to go do some academic tests. They go down there and take tests. October 21st, Western Dakota Tech is bringing their, I'm gonna call it the Health Science simulation truck. So they're bringing a simulation truck out that day for our kids and teachers to go through, and I'll be honest, I don't know exactly what they're all gonna find in there, but we're excited to have them. October 22nd is another big day where we have our juniors and seniors are going to be going to, college days, and our freshmen are going to Freshman Impact at Douglas. And because I don't like to say no, and I like to do too many things, I'm writing the skit. So the skit is like when someone is killed because of drunk driving, and they bring in the attorneys and a jury, and they find the kid guilty and someone is dying. And my skit this year that I'm writing for them is where we have a coach. They run into a coach after working cattle one day, and so anyway, it's a different twist on things, which I love to always add a twist. October 24th is a day I want to talk to everybody about. It's a Friday, and it is our professional development day. What we've got planned, Sergeant Hera is working with Mr. Sikora, and we're planning, we always do an Alice active shooter training, but this Friday, we're gonna do a review of that. We're inviting the community to come to it. And we're also gonna do a dry run of our reunification. We've never done this. I don't know if a lot of schools do it, but your reunification is after you have a shooting situation and you run with your kids to a safe spot, now how to get our kids back with their families. And so we're gonna do a dry run, and we invite any of the community that wants to come participate. I think we're gonna start the Alice, the review of the training, and we do that every year, but we're going to do that at like 7:30. And then that dry run of the reunification is gonna probably be around 12:30 or so, kind of afternoon, but we'll probably be getting out more details to that on the timing. But we want the community to come participate, to see how this is gonna work. And, you know, I say we can think we're trained up, but when it happens, it's got a lot of details to work through, so we're kind of excited to do that. I told Mr. Sikora, it's something we gotta do. I agree with what the lieutenant said. It's really exciting to see more law enforcement walking the halls, stopping in and saying hi, just being present. And I know they're out there in the mornings. I see lights flashing from my office window. They can't get out there as early as I do, but I see them from my window. No, but anyway, thank you. And so I appreciate the relationship. Any questions? That's gonna get us through October. Oh, we're doing a trunk and treat with the chamber on the 31st. It was such a big hit last year. And we did it because we had a football game. This year, the football game's the night before, but we're still going to do it on a Friday night. So get your costumes on and come to the parking lot. Questions?
How's your football team doing?
You know what? Told the boys the other day, I love that you're winning so much, but I fall asleep during your football games.
I think some of the coaches do too.
No, it's fun. Yeah, it's fun. I've got kids, this is fun too. I've got some homeschool kids that came and they're loving it. And, they said, we just love your school over here, and they're open enrolled kids, and so it's fun. But, thank you.
Thank you. Good luck with your conferences. Okay, so then that brings us back to the lieutenant. If you would like to speak. In your packet was the county, Pennington County Law Enforcement Services Agreement.
Yeah.
And would you like to talk to us about that?
Yeah. So I just kind of want to kind of explain some history and highlight some things. The sheriff was out here, I think, last year. kind of explain the partnership with the city of Wall and how that helps us, with the county, do a good job of being on the east side of the county. That they give us good home base to, make sure we get over on this side of the community instead of having to come from Rapid City. So this contract has been mutually beneficial to both the county and the city as far as law enforcement goes. So with tweaking things and looking at things, holistically as far as how it fits in with everything else. And some of the challenges we've had with, finding someone to live out here, and I think at the end of the day that our goal and your goal is the same, as to have law enforcement that lives out here and is part of the community. We have Deputy Christopherson, who's been a long-term deputy, he lives here, he's a good part of the community. Deputy Kerner is, within weeks of getting out training, and he's gonna move out here. And then, we will, so as of right now, the way it's kind of constructed is we have Deputy Christopherson who lives out here, who's the only one that lives out here. Deputy Isaacson, was, Deputy, Austin that worked out here, and then Deputy Hera, and then we've had Deputy Porch out here for some time. And so what we're trying to do is trying to kind of stop that rotation of people. That's what our goal is. So what the goal is to have two folks that live out here. That will be Deputy Isaacson, Deputy Kerner, or excuse me, Deputy Christopherson and Deputy Kerner. And then Deputy Isaacson will still come from Rapid City and perform his shift work out here. And then Sergeant Hera, who actually, that's a good part, he came from the school, he was a long-term school resource and probably.
He's trained this before.
Yeah, he talks the same lingo you guys
Yeah.
talk, so he knows that, so he's probably a good addition for you guys. So Sergeant Hera had, last year we transitioned to splitting up our contract sergeants, we used to have one. And that same contract sergeant handled the contracts in Hill City, Keystone, Wall, and New Underwood. And we felt like that was just too much for one sergeant to try to have, any communication with you folks, the mayor especially. It's just hard, it's a lot of miles between them, a lot of people between those miles, so we cut that in half. So Sergeant Swanson, who was out here, now oversees Hill City and Keystone, and now Sergeant Hera oversees New Underwood and Wall contracts. So how we kind of tweak this contract with keeping in mind to save you guys some money out here, because it is an expensive contract. The total contract last year was $200,209 for the year, and that just pays for the wages, 60% of the wages. And then, yeah, obviously we provide the equipment and the training and all of that stuff. The city of Wall just pays for 60% of the wages. So you guys pay that quarterly, so that was a $50,052 bill quarterly. What we're gonna do is reduce this by 17 hours of the contract. And what that does for you guys is it drops it down to $175,000 for the year. Again, that's 60% of the wages. Now, everybody's like 17 hours, we just got talking about seeing more deputies, now we're gonna take hours away. But if I was just to highlight last month, we provided 137 hours a week. And a contract that only paid for 123. So if you talk about having 3 deputies that are full-time to this, 40 hours a week, and then an addition of a half-time sergeant will be out here, he'll office out of here most of the time. He might here and there have to cover a shift in Rapid, obviously he'll have to go up and pay attention to the deputy and know here and there. But he'll office out of Wall. That is the goal, where the majority of his time he's going to be officing out of here. So what that does, is it just reduces a little bit of hours. However, it's kind of in the contract, so you guys don't get billed out for when we get a call to Quinn. That's where the partnership comes in. We have the deputies here, it cuts the response time down to Quinn, down to Wasta. So there's more hours just built in with the deputy time and the hours. So I think this is gonna work for everyone. Obviously, it's up to you guys if this is something that you guys wanna do, but we talked to the sheriff, and the sheriff put this together, and I think we'll be able to do this well, especially if we have 2 deputies living out here. One deputy that'll be what we call a commuter spot, so they just drive out here from their house, they work out here for their shift. And then obviously Deputy Hera will go 10 8 Rapid, drive out here, hang out for the day, and then head back to Rapid. So if there's any questions or anything, and again, if this is a problem and doesn't do what we want it to do, then we'll figure it out. I mean, this isn't something we have to stick with. If it's not working, we're completely flexible as the year goes, adjusting things as we go. I think this is a good starting spot to start 2026, and then we'll see how it goes. And if it doesn't work for you guys, we'll figure it out. But I know money's tight everywhere, and I think this will provide the service you guys need at a rate that's a little bit lower. And that would build out, if my math is right, which I think it's right, it's 43,877 a quarter, because that's billed quarterly. And that's what the accountants tell me. So if that's not what it's done, I apologize. Yeah.
Okay, so does anyone have any questions then for the lieutenant?
Lieutenant, is that 17 less hours per week?
Yes. So that'll take the total hours that we bill. As of right now, it's 123. And we'll go down to 108.
Yes.
But again, we're gonna have 3 deputies that their full-time job is here, and that's 120 hours between those 2 deputies. That just builds in us some time to be outside of Wall. If we go down to the back, to the park to help them, if we go out to Wasta, if we go out to Quinn, if those calls don't happen, all those hours are in town. It makes sense. And then plus Sergeant Harris time up here.
Are them deputies paid from the time they leave Rapids when they don't live here?
So.
Here,
So, yes and no. We only count the hours that they're actually in Wall, but their time clock will count when they start driving, if that makes sense. But the billed hours are hours that are, they're
so
handling Wall calls, yeah.
I can't speed past them on.
Right. You still might get caught. Hopefully you're in one of the 41 warnings there right now.
It's just checking for a friend.
Get it too.
Okay, any other questions?
And I just want to emphasize, if this doesn't work, we'll figure it out, okay? So if we got a big hole somewhere and the mayor calls me and says, Casey, this isn't working, then we'll figure something out. But that's a good place to start.
And I appreciate that dialogue.
Mhm.
And Sheriff Mueller too, is very good.
Yeah, he'll answer the call.
Absolutely. So with that being said, are we ready to make a motion to approve this service agreement with Pennington County Law Enforcement?
So move.
Zach, okay, Zach moves, Dan seconded. Any other questions or concerns? Discussion, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, at this point, we have an opportunity for public comments, a time for members and public to discuss or express concerns to the council with any issue on or not on the agenda. Action will not be taken, and you have 3 minutes to address your concerns. Do we have any public oh, Gordy, please.
Thank you. I do want to address the water and sewer bill charges that are going to be implemented. First off, I was just going to start with just a little bit of history. This was the resolution, you just pass that around, that was approved at the August 21st meeting. It showed the rate increases for water, sewer, and trash. So you have a copy of that. On the last bill, and that was actually included on the last water bill and sewer bill. But I'm gonna give you guys a copy of what was on the back of the water bill. You probably want a copy of that one. Now, my issue with this is that these rates were not approved by the city council. The rates that we approved on August 21st did not include the charges for ACH and credit card payments that they're proposing. And to me, it's the council's job to set the rates and the finance office to implement the rates. And so I think there's some issues. I don't think that it was done appropriately. I'd also like to pass around, I'd ask the city attorney if that's the way I read it and should be read. That they set the rates, they implement the rates.
I can't answer your question here now. That's your time of comment.
And I also kind of comment on the ACH fees. I pulled, went to the April 21st meetings, also looked at the July meeting minutes. The ACH cost that the city was paying was $47. Now you're looking at charging $4 a piece for everyone that has an ACH fee charge. That seems a little excessive. Most companies, really encourage people to pay ACH. It's because it's cost effective. It costs our company 20 cents a payment that we take roughly. If I calculate the cities correctly, it's prior to the change to G-Works, it was about 25 cents per transaction. That's what all I had out. The other thing I have here is, this is just some propaganda that was on the G-Works site. That's a program that you must have recently purchased. So it's basically saying how this should be taxed or cost effective and not, cost company or cost city citizens more. But, going from a 27 cent for 20-cent charge to now charging the citizens $44 seems a little excessive in my world. Did I miss anything? So I did give you the and those should be covered in section 51, 52, and 53 of the ordinances. Questions?
I've heard other citizens complaining about that ACH rate.
Well, my biggest issue is that these were approved by the finance office and not approved by council. We elect the council members, we don't elect the finance office. And it's really the council that sets rates and not vice versa.
Okay, thank you very much. Appreciate your comments. We'll take that into consideration. Okay, Linda,
Hi.
hello, how are you?
Well, since I've been up here,
Yes,
but anyway, so I want to address the same issue. And I definitely agree with what Gordy said. The city council did not set a resolution to put that, $4 for up to 500, and it bothers me that how that increment goes up also. According to Finance Officer Bruce on the September 4th meeting, the updating the system was completed, and that going forward, it should reduce the time spent on manually entering these payments each month. So if this is a new system, it has not been tested long enough to see what amount of time is spent on processing these payments every month. Also, if the process becomes faster and easier, why is there convenience fee being charged to consumers making automatic check and credit card payments? Where is the research and the review process to support these charges? It seems to me it singles out people who are using this convenience, this service, the ACH, over people who pay by check. So say a lot of people who are now using the ACH service decide, okay, if you're gonna charge me this fee, I'm gonna go back to writing checks. What has the city gained? Has the city gained anything at all? You've lost the people doing it automatically. And I couldn't find anywhere where these dollar amounts came from, who decided on these dollar amounts. Did the city council review this? And I couldn't find any resolutions in the minutes that I looked at. So if you, I said that right, okay, so this convenience fee to me needs to be rescinded immediately until the new system can be further tested, at least for a year. Proof of costs and benefits need to be provided as to the effectiveness and efficiency of this new system. And the appropriate due process set by city ordinances needs to be followed before implementing any convenience charges or fees. And then the other thing I'd like to address is it almost feels like constant increases to the utility bills. When I first got my house in 2015, so this December it'll be 10 years, my utility bill was $75. It's almost doubled in 10 years. I'm upset with this because I only take my garbage out maybe once a month. Usually it's every couple months. My container is never full. If it's got 3 or 4 bags of tiny bags of garbage in it, that's about all I put in there. The other thing is I practice water conservation. So I am always under the minimum amount for water use that's on that bill, which, by the way, I only got today, the city bill, that card. Okay, so the only other part I would add is by using less water, I'm putting less into the sewer system, but being charged the maximum or not, whatever amount it is. And according to city ordinance 53-24, there is a hearing board of city council members to arbitrate the differences between the director of public works and sewer users. Perhaps we need a hearing set up for concerned citizens to discuss these increased charges to our utility bills.
Okay, thank you very much. And as indicated under public comments, action will not be taken on the issue until it can be added to the next meeting agenda.
I do have a question, with the ACH, payments. With where we're paying $47.06, would we be able to lower that rate, or is it all mixed into one, like is a company doing it, or?
If you look on the billing this month, it's now 293.
For the ACH fee?
But that's not the full amount that we would be charged. That is just slowly working through the implementation. So it's gonna get higher.
Gotcha.
Is that related to the new system?
Yes.
Okay, thank you very much for your comments. We appreciate you coming to the council and sharing that. That moves us on to item number 15, permits. Carolyn, there is a building permit here,
Yeah,
but
we're gonna have to not address this at this time. Garrett and the property owner were not able to connect to review it, and when he reviewed it, he had some questions, but he can't get them answered yet, so I'll bring it back to the next
okay,
meeting.
next meeting. Okay, then in your packet was the Hanson sign on for their glamping on their grain bin gazebo. Do each of these need to be approved individually? With the permit?
For the
Okay.
sign, yeah, the sign.
Okay.
Separate.
So, does anyone have any questions on that sign? And if not, do I have a motion to approve? Or do you have questions?
It's just the one straight up on the gazebo, nothing else?
Correct.
So move.
Okay, Zach has moved. And Jerry seconded the sign permit for Hanson Inn. Any other questions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, then we also have conditional use permit requests for Airbnb renewal at 610 Houston and 116 7th Avenue. Anyone have? And can those be approved together?
Yeah.
Both of those, okay.
Move approved.
Okay, Stan is moved,
Second.
Mike seconded. Any other questions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay. So. This brings us to a continuation of the discussion that started at the last meeting regarding rumble strips. And I think Zach, you were gonna do some research or some.
Yep, had a couple of discussions and, just with it coming up on winter and everything, we'll look at doing anything here relatively soon. The rumble strips that the DOT have, the, temporary one, they're like pretty. You hit them, might need a new alignment if you're going 50 on them. They're pretty intense, I guess, if you hit them, so, that might be a little bit too much. But I did send him the link of what I had shared with the council and everything, and he said that could be something we look at this spring to put in there to try and get attention to get people to slow down there.
And where were you?
The location I brought up would be right in front of, the auto livery there. There's a 20 mile per hour speed sign about 50 feet from there.
Mhm.
So when they hit it, then they could see that there's a 20, I mean, you can see all the signs, but hopefully it just grabbed their attention, so.
And that would pretty much be between exit 110 and that 20 mph, which is right beyond his approach, or driveway
Yep.
or auto livery,
Yep.
would that be correct?
Yep.
Okay. All right.
And, I did reach out about the stop sign down here, about, an advanced warning sign. And from the book, we follow the MUTCD, we follow their guidelines, and with it not being a visual problem, because you can see it from far away, we won't put in any kind of sign for that because you can see it. So they said it's not visual problem, it's just people aren't paying attention. So maybe, if the temporary rumble strips is something that the city would look at doing, maybe we could put them down there too, to grab their attention for that stop sign, because there has been actual accidents down there. That's
And I think you're talking right there by the South Boulevard, by
in
the,
Main Street, where they
Yeah,
join there.
I think maybe there might have been miscommunication because I think, wasn't it you, Rick, that brought up that maybe we could have cross traffic does not stop? By the
Oh,
stop sign?
cross traffic does not stop.
Yeah, just so. You know, the people at the stop sign
I'll check.
know that those guys aren't gonna stop going. east
Yeah,
or west.
yeah, because, they could be thinking it's forward, yeah, I'll check on that too.
all right. So, and I think you've preceded your comments with, we don't put rumble strips in right now,
No.
we're ready to start
Yes,
sliding snow.
Yeah.
Okay, so this would be something, that we could bring back at another meeting then?
yeah, springtime, like last meeting, I said springtime to fall or whatever, late
Okay.
fall.
Okay, so maybe February or March, you'd like it on that meeting?
Yeah, start talking about it, I guess.
Okay, is
Good
that
stuff.
okay? Agreeable?
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll table that till February or March. You'll make note of that, please, Carolyn. All right, that brings us to the chamber director report, Ally.
All right, first, we had Wall in the Fall, event on September 20th. That went pretty good considering that, half the town was in Rapid for a football game. We did have 70 kids come to paint pumpkins, so it was a pretty good turnout. Ken said that his food truck did well as well. We did have quite a few leftover pumpkins and we dispersed them, donated them to 3 of the child care facilities in Wall. So they're supposed to send us pictures after the little kids graduate. And we had the homecoming appreciation supper. We want to thank all of our volunteers. We had a great turnout for volunteers, and then we did up the amount of food just because it was at the CTE shop. And we thought the convenience of the location would cause more people to come over, and it did seem to happen that way. We did have some leftover burgers, and we donated them to the youth football league for their concessions the following day. And then the future events that we have Brewster Rush coming up. We'll have to get something planned for that. The craft show has been moved to the Powerhouse on November 1st. We tried to just move the date, but we got so much negative feedback from vendors that we just pivoted and moved locations. We also agreed to partner for the trunk or treat with the school. And that will be on October 31st from 5 to 7 in the west parking lot. And then, I got a very heartfelt letter or card today. The chamber, I just feel like is a great support system for the town itself. And this was just proof of that today. I mean, we're like morale boosters, we sponsor things, we hold events, give people things to look forward to, and this was just from the covered food pantry, and yeah, she was just very grateful. She was like, it couldn't have come at a perfect time. She kind of forgot about the sponsorship, and then they were kind of low on funds. So Yeah, she had a very good letter and a hug and came to say thank you 3 times today, so I really appreciated that. And with that being said, I just like to thank my board and, everyone in the community. I'm sorry, I'm nervous, I'm sad. I just want to give my formal resignation. I'm just gonna read my letter because I'll go up on a wild goose chase if I don't, and hopefully I can get through it. I want you to know I did not take this decision lightly and have really struggled with it for the last couple months. But, I would like to resign at my position as the executive director for the Wall Badlands Chamber of Commerce, effective today, October 9th. While I truly have valued my time serving the chamber, working with the board and engaging with the community, I can no longer continue in this role due to the ongoing toxic and unprofessional work environment. Despite my efforts to address and resolve issues while remaining committed to my responsibilities, the continued lack of support, respect, and accountability from the city has made this role unsustainable. I have followed all directives given to me in good faith, yet I continue to be subjected to unfair treatment, including what I view as retaliatory and intimidating communication from the city attorney. Despite receiving positive feedback from my chamber board and continued success of chamber initiatives, I have been met with ongoing negative correspondence from the city attorney on behalf of the city council. It has become clear that this negative feedback is a direct retaliation for a complaint I was encouraged to file by the city council. When a municipal leader begins actively attempting to rally others against me for personal reasons, it becomes clear that this is no longer a safe or acceptable work environment. These issues have persisted for some time without meaningful resolution. I sincerely hope that the city council will take appropriate steps to investigate the long-standing dysfunction and turmoil that have surrounded this office. I wish the chamber organization continued success moving forward. I also would like to submit a request for disclosure of my personnel file and all documents in it. I don't know, does the city attorney get this or, the city finance office?
Yeah, please, thank you.
And, again, I hope that the chamber will be successful in the future and, does anybody have any questions for me? All right, well, thank you for allowing me to serve in this position.
I'm just gonna finish the chamber report.
With that, Lily.
I'm just gonna finish the chamber report.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, for those who don't know me, I'm Lily Stone, and I'm a president of the chamber. I have dedicated myself to this community, serving in the ambulance board. I'm volunteering as a driver on the ambulance. I completed over 200 hours this summer, completing EMT training to help our emergency services. I serve on the planning and zoning and economic development boards. My commitment to this community is unwavering, and I put 100% of my time and effort in these roles I do. So today I speak as the president of the Chamber of Commerce. I served on this board for 2.5 years. I was elected to be a president 6 months ago. A couple days ago, I received a resignation letter from the board member, Amanda. Her concern mirrored my own. She pointed out the exhausting cycle of hiring chamber director without real change. The sense that member voices and concerns are ignored and the unfair treatment of Ali Webster, despite her excellent work. Amanda's resignation highlights the ongoing problem in our governance and shows that the current structure is not working. From the very beginning of my term as the president of the chamber board, I identified 2 critical concerns for this board in this organization that I was planning to address for the long-term success and stability. The first was the question of value. What value does the chamber truly bring to its members? There has not been a clear and consistent understanding among the membership of what the chamber does or offers. For some, it was viewed simply as advertising outlet. For others, the purpose was unclear. Over the Over the years, this lack of clarity has led to steady decline in membership. If members don't clearly see the value of being part of the chamber, they won't stay. We need to rebuild that sense of value, showing why membership matters, how the chamber supports local businesses, and how it helps strengthen our community's economy. That's essential for long-term success. The second concern was the high turnover rate among the chamber directors. Historically, the turnover happened, I looked at it, every couple years, with Kelsey being the only one director who served for 5 years. This raised a fundamental question: are we really hiring the job hoppers here? Or if there is an underlying problem rooted in the governance system itself. When leadership turns over repeatedly, it signals not the personnel problem, but the structural one. The chamber board is legally empowered to oversee the chamber organization by its bylaws. And I don't know if anybody ever looked at it or even thought of it, but yes, we do follow our bylaws based on the Robert's Rules of Order. These bylaws clearly state that the board approves the hiring of the chamber director, determines the duties of the position, and approves job descriptions. Yet, these critical steps were never formally completed. Job descriptions were discussed informally among some parties, but never formally brought to the board and never approved by the board. This is a serious governance issue. The city must respect that the board follows its bylaws and recognize that these rules in place to ensure accountability and proper oversight. So this recent process surrounding Alice Webster's evaluation has only amplified these challenges. The decision to extend her probation was communicated directly by the city attorney without consulting the board or me as its president. Involving legal counsel in this context sends an unnecessarily adversarial message and creates risk for volunteer leaders. As a volunteer myself, receiving communication from the attorney, it raises red flag to me immediately. It makes me question whether there are legal concern involved. And that is not a position any volunteer who serves this community should be put in or placed in. To give our time and effort, really not expecting to face legal exposure for decisions made outside of our control. Under Alice Webster's leadership, the chamber has achieved significant progress. She's strategic, she's visionary, and has successfully implemented innovative programs, and she secured successful, substantial funding for the chamber initiatives. By every measure, she has performed exceptionally. It is difficult to reconcile these achievements with the lack of formal support and the decision to extend her probation without acknowledgement of her contributions. After receiving the letter from the city attorney regarding her probation extension, I followed up with a written request, asking for clarification on several key points: the basis for the extension, measurable expectations, the board supervisory role, and the reason for legal counsel involvement in the employee evaluation. This response I received was deeply disappointing. The city attorney explanation did not provide clarity or accountability. The reply failed to address the actual concerns raised by the chamber board and instead deflected the issue entirely. To make matters even more concerning, the city attorney ended his response by stating that the city council would decide whether or not to reply to my request. Frankly, that statement was alarming. The city council made the decision to extend director's probation, yet they refused to provide measurable goals or performance expectations to justify this decision. Suggesting that they might simply choose not to respond reflects a serious lack of accountability and transparency. When an elected body exercises authority over personal decisions but declines to explain the reasoning or metrics behind them, it shows that the city wants control without accountability, leaving the chamber board powerless to govern effectively. This response confirmed for me that the governance structure between the city and the chamber is fundamentally broken. The city cannot both control employment decisions and expect the chamber board to be accountable for results. Because your decisions, I have to deal with the consequences of your decision. The lack of clarity around roles, responsibilities, and authority sets the organization up for continuing dysfunction. If the city wants to take direct control of the chamber operations, this is your choice. But until the city treats the board as governing body, it legally is, follows recommendations and refrains from bypassing or excluding board, this structure will fail repeatedly. This organization set for failure, and it's been like this for years now. Turnover and dysfunction will continue regardless of who serves as the director. At this point, there must be an open and honest discussion between the city and the chamber, clearly defined boundaries, authority, and roles. This partnership can only work when those roles are clear and respected. When the city is ready to have this conversation, I will be the first line to help you there. But for now, I chose not to be part of this structure where I have no real control or clarity. I do not walk away from things when they get hard, but if you don't have control of the situation, let it go. And this is what I live by. So with that in mind, I'm resigning from the chamber board effective immediately. This was not an easy decision, and I truly believe in the chamber's potential in this community and the work we have begun. My hope is that this moment serves as a turning point for you guys to sit down and discuss and clarify roles and rebuild accountability for the good of the chamber's future and this community it serves. This is all I have.
Okay, thank you.
I would like to comment from anyone on this. It's a big deal. We lost 2 board members. I don't know, what do we say about Savannah?
I'm not gonna speak up for everybody.
She can speak up to herself.
You're not here.
I know,
Sure.
she will.
With tonight, we're losing 3 people. I'd like to know from you, what's going on?
Well, I think the council and the mayor and the finance officers and the other employees of the city, to a certain degree, have actively worked to destroy the relationship with Ally, the Chamber of Commerce. It's terrible. You know, we're a tourism business. We've always had a Chamber of Commerce. They've done tremendous good, but we've tried to micromanage that and really want to run it. And it's crazy. I mean, and I've always felt, been mentioned from time to time, that, you know, we're effectively heading in a direction of destroying the Chamber of Commerce. It's a huge travesty. It shouldn't be done. It's unconscionable that we're in this position. I feel terrible about it. And I always say that. It's not fair. We should have let the chamber board run their own deal with their executive director, not giving her a raise, extending her, what is it? Probation. I mean, it's just.
And the probationary period from the letter that we received was ridiculous. What it said was that she needs to communicate with other people in the office. She has tried, the doors are closed. How can you communicate with people when the doors are closed? And that's the reason why she had her probationary period extended. No reason, no job performance, no nothing. She's just not getting along with other people.
No, but Ally was targeted.
I know.
And
People need to know
huge
this.
hostile work environment. And of course, it started way before her. I mean, it's terrible. And using our city attorney to contact her was very inappropriate.
Mary, could I have you respond to that? Would you please, to me, and explain why we're at this position?
I feel this is a personnel issue. And it is.
It is, but it's all in the open,
Yes.
and you know what? People need to know why we're at this point. We lost 3 people tonight.
And I'm sorry to hear that.
think you are. I really don't.
And this is a personnel issue, I would refer to our legal counsel. That this is not something that we would discuss in open session under any
Then
circumstance.
can you and I have a conversation, because I would like to know.
Absolutely. Not tonight, probably, though.
And really, I don't know why we're not talking about this. This is an unbelievable bad situation for the town of Wall. I mean, it's, you know, it's just such a misdirection. And we're just gonna thumb our nose at the Chamber of Commerce and want control of them and don't let their board run the show. And they've done very well. Ally secured other funds, and it was really just a big ego power trip. And I thought, well, we're gonna lose the Chamber of Commerce director, members, and we have. Anyway,
And I thought a month and a half ago, 2 months ago, we were given by the city council, the board was giving the authority to run the chamber.
they were given it, but they didn't get it.
Bingo. So it's kind of, we say one thing, but we do another.
And I'll echo that too, is that I think, yeah, the board should have authority over that. I think what came in is we were paying the percentage of 30% or whatever, and then some jobs were taken away. And so then that's what added on to it as well. But I do feel that the board should have the power to do with what they want with the director, have the job description and all that, so.
This system's been going on broke for 8 years. Every year it just gets a little worse and I agree with everything that you guys have said. It's an impossible situation almost.
It doesn't have to be, Stan. It doesn't have to be.
I agree with you. It doesn't have to be.
Didn't used to be.
Yeah.
I think if we can try and work some stuff out in executive session and try and. Because, yeah, we need the chamber and the directors, so.
Okay, any other comments? Okay. Anything else? Okay, thank you. Next on the agenda is economic development.
So, I just wanted to comment on the, things that are going on in economic development. The same weekend that we did Well in the Fall, I hosted a Taiwanese agriculture delegation. They came to Wall Drug and had lunch and went shopping. I took them out to Tyrell Eisenbrau's farm, where they had a tour of the farm. About 90% of the wheat that they import comes from South Dakota. So they were very interested in seeing how that works. They, after the Tyrell was fantastic, they got to see the farm, how everything is done. They talked about fertilization and shipping, and I think it was really good and really productive. They then visited Mount Rushmore, and then I went with them and brought them back. They were dying for fruit, so I made sure that they went to the Wall Food Store and bought their fruit. And they left with dinner from the bodega, and when we stopped, they got off the bus and hit the town for another round of shopping of souvenirs before they headed back to Pierre and on to another state. They were a very gracious group of people, and I think it's a great future for our agriculture community around here to have that that import with Taiwan and moving on. Next up is our leadership class unfortunately had to be canceled. We only had 2 people enrolled, so we're gonna try it again for next year, but it's all programmed and ready to go. it's a really good program and I'm looking forward to that. Our grant writing class is still on in November, 21st and 22nd. And we had 12 people when I wrote this report, and I had 2 more people add to the list today. So, if anyone is interested in that, we still have room, and, I think that'll be a fantastic class for people. Reminder that farm succession planning, will be December 3rd at 2:30. Our CDL class is on, and, we have, a couple kids that are going to get their CDLs. And that will be October, probably November now, because harvest is kind of slowing things up a little bit for people. But I'm also working with the schools, to partner with them so that we can get some new, bus drivers. Western Dakota Tech is gonna help with that class as well. So if anyone is interested in getting their CDL to help the school drive some events, they would greatly appreciate that. Talk to me or Dr. Krauser about that. I gave the council, these handouts from EDPA, and I just wanna put it, I'm not gonna read it if you wanted to go over it, but just coming up legislation, it looks like they're going to put TIFs, which is a tax increment financing tool that is used to help with infrastructure and things in cities. We have used it in the past. I'm not looking to use it in the future, but it's a huge tool for economic growth and understanding why we need those and that we use those for as a powerful tool, and that you pass it on to your legislators would be huge to the economic development of our community as well as South Dakota as a whole. And then I also included a fact sheet on data center tax incentive, which is on the legislative to be voted on again this next year. We in Colorado, the only 2 states in this Midwest region that do not have a sales tax incentive for the data centers. And we're losing out on millions of revenue for our state by not having those incentives, allowing them to come here and build our communities, because they give back to the communities, and it's not just jobs, but they also help lower energy rates, and they build up the community, put in infrastructure, help build homes and all that stuff. So these data centers are good, but there's facts on that. Please read over them, and you know, if you agree with them, let your legislators know so that those things get pushed, because we need these tools to bring business to not only Wall, but the state of South Dakota. So
Roshan,
yes.
what's a data center?
Oh, data centers are, that's where all of your data is stored, the cloud. They're centers that have rows and rows of stacks of computers in them. And that's where all of your information goes to run, like ChatGPT, all the apps on your phones.
So do we have a tax structure that inhibits that?
It inhibits, they rotate their equipment every couple of years, because as you know, computers, as soon as you buy them, they're like a car, they lose their value.
Yeah.
So that is their biggest turnover, and so they're asking for a sales tax rebate on that. The amount of money that they would get on that rebate for renewing their equipment every 3 years is more than made up in the sales tax that they do, in the energy that they draw, and the property taxes that they pay. And so that's why we wanna make sure that that goes through, and that needs to be a permanent thing. Cause right now GOED has something, but they can maybe decide not to do it in the future, and they need to kind of rely on that. So that they can continue to grow and keep their equipment up to date and keep money in the community.
So
So
were you asking, is the state of South Dakota have, or the city of Wall, which were you asking about? Rick?
Oh, I was just, I
Yeah.
didn't understand what a data center was. I thought it was like,
No, but the tax structure, I
Yeah.
thought you
Yeah.
were wondering.
yeah,
Wall's not,
we wouldn't impact that, I would think.
there are smaller ones. Most of them are bigger ones, like Ellendale, North Dakota has one, and it's like over 2,000 people that are there building that, and then over 150 people, but there are smaller ones that take only like 10 people to run, and don't take as up as much of a footprint, but they're just big buildings that hold computers and they like this area because 6 to 9 months out of the year, they can cut their energy cost because we're cold, so they don't have to cool that system as much, use as much energy to cool that
They must
system.
have a huge energy draw.
Yes, and that's where the money comes in because we have a sales tax on, or a tax on energy consumption. And the amount of energy that they use brings in hundreds of millions of dollars in revenue from those.
So isn't there a large data center going in out by Butler Machine in Rapid City? And they have had a big TIF discussion
Yeah,
in the city of Rapid City as well as Pennington County Commissioners.
yeah.
So that's actually beginning to happen, and I just learned today of another smaller one that's going into the new industrial park on the south side of Rapid City, working with Black Hills Energy. So they are.
They are coming and we need them. They run at all of our computers. All of our information comes from them. And I was told by one of them that they need to put one of these up every week to keep up with the demand for that storage space to run everything we do in life off of computer technology. So that's why I'm giving this information so that we can make sure that we have those tools to promote growth in this state. We're missing out on a lot of money. So, but that was it, other than, now that our season is winding down, I'm ramping up my business expansion and retention visits, so I will be probably knocking on people's doors to come talk to them and see how we can help this community and grow and thrive. And that's all. Any questions for me? No? All right, thank you, everybody.
Thank you. Okay. So then also included in your packet, was a, concern letter that was brought to us. And it was referencing the walking path, expressing some concern about residents who are throwing pieces of wood on the walking path and on Waldorf property that doesn't belong to them, and this person is expressing concern. I don't happen to walk that walk path, but maybe some of you that do wouldn't be aware of that. Also, there is concern about the apartment building, and it in reference to lack of mowing, the noxious weeds, and some of the litter that is around and about that particular building. And also, this person was concerned about not the city council not enforcing ordinances and indicating that there's volunteer help here involved that, or volunteers that pick up and always try to make our community look better, but they were expressing concern about this particular building. In your packet also were pictures referring to that particular situation, and also a comparison. In other words, there's two apartment buildings and but owned differently. One of them is owned by an out of town company and managed by someone out of town, and so maybe out of sight allows them to not stay on top of things. And that's what this concern letter is about, is the poor appearance of that particular building and the one very next door that is kept up by a locally owned person and looks much better. So then that took me to the nuisance ordinances, which there's two areas that might, this particular concern might be covered in. One is vegetation, weeds that are growing higher than 8 inches, and another area that indicates that it is anyone that owns a building is responsible for the way it looks and that it is kept to the level of maintenance of surrounding properties. So that's why the two sets of pictures are there, one being well kept, the other one isn't. Another ordinance or another item under that variance also is overgrown vegetation. And then cans, bins, boxes, that are in the front yard and visible from the public streets. So you can see some of those pictures referring to that exact thing. And then not only is it comparing, do we need to compare with the next door situation, but also what's across the street, which is property that is kept very nicely. So the question here then, and it's being posed, Carolyn, I believe you did call the property owners or the managers of the one
Yeah, not recently, I would say maybe a month ago. When
and I think at that, they did indicate that they were gonna start our wood mow. So the question that we have at this point then is what is the feeling of the council? Is that something that she should follow through with a second letter, a second call? Or is this this acceptable to us and we don't want to address the concern that was provided to us by a resident?
So you have sent a letter, one letter?
No, I just called first and they said that they would and they did, but I just don't know, I guess, what the next step would be that you want to.
They did indicate there was a change in management, did I have that correct? Because I actually had called them last year, there's a phone number on a sign there. And I called it and brought it to their attention last year, they actually did hire a local individual that did mow it last year, but now evidently because of a change of management, maybe they lost that phone number or whatever, and we're kind of back to where we were. And then as this concern indicated, I didn't walk out there, but there's live wires in some of that downed, whatever that is, that's laying on the ground.
Right by the entryway?
Well, that is the front door.
Okay, I just could see something laying there too.
Oh, no, those are on the north side.
So what direction should we give Carolyn to move forward in this situation?
Well, would the REA need contacted for the down electrical?
What it is, it's just like a 4x4 with a.
Oh, it's just an
conduit coming
outlet?
up. Yeah.
Okay, I thought it was the box, okay.
No, it's just an outlet, so they can plug their vehicles in the wintertime.
Okay, yeah, so that wouldn't be on them.
But
And that's the back side of the property.
Okay.
Call them and ask them to address the electrical issue with the downed outlet and weed eat all around. Cause they may have mowed, but there's a lot of weeds still up close that need weed eating.
And I think he mentions that some of those are noxious weeds. Did I see that in there? Which
Yeah,
is
that's not good.
definitely not acceptable. Okay, so do you want her to follow up with another phone call or should she try to? Didn't you have a problem trying to find an address? Isn't?
Yeah, cause the utility just goes to like their billing centers. I think those are the people that are actually property management.
Okay. So what's the feeling of the council? Do you want her to proceed or leave it go? Or
I would say do you think if you called that number, you could get a address for whoever is responsible for that to get them a letter? I think we need documentation. Otherwise, if we don't have any paper trail, then what comes next?
Yeah, I can call again and ask what would be the property management address.
Okay. Right, well, there shouldn't be anything more that we would need to reflect that in the minutes that you'll follow.
So the wood and on the, are they talking about the bike path over there?
In this concern line?
Yeah,
Yeah, I think it's a bike path, do you ever walk that? I don't.
I do.
What do you,
I've
do
never
you know
seen
what he
it.
was talking about for the bike path?
Yeah, cause that day that on the bike. shoot,
Oh,
they
the
took
Willen
off,
Wall?
There was some,
Somebody made a ramp for it so they could go from the street up onto the bike path and not have to jump the curb. Right? Yeah.
no,
No.
No, not that.
no.
Oh,
this is somebody. And we go through there and pick up stuff all the time, but they take the branches off and they set it on the bike path. And I'm pretty sure the same person takes we have a PV going through there so the water can drain. And he takes that pipe out, and so it leaves, a pretty big hole in there for people, so we have to check it all the time.
Yeah. Yeah, cause I was thinking about I've seen some kids playing down there before, and if there was some debris down there, maybe they were playing around and drug it up to the top of the hill, but it's being laid across the bike path.
I can't say that, because by the time I go there, it's like broke up into the side.
But the branches and stuff are.
Yeah, there's pretty big chunks of right off the trees right there. So I don't know if they're doing that to get attention to say that it needs to be trimmed or
Or off of Big Daddy.
yeah. Yeah, I don't, and we have to check it all the time. Like I said, because
Okay. Well, we've addressed the concern and you're gonna do, find a letter,
Property management address to follow with the letter.
the letter, okay. And then I think after one letter, and if something doesn't improve, then it's followed up with another letter, and you have a time frame to do that, right? Okay. Okay. In front of you also is an airport lease. This was put together by the Airport Steering Committee Subcommittee. And it had some updates, and we also had the attorney review this. And he made some excellent suggestions to that. We have, the term will be 50 years as indicated, with a renewal option. And this is just in preparation of getting something in place so that as we move forward with our airport design, that our new apron and we start putting in hangars, that we have something in place. So, does anyone have any questions or thoughts regarding this?
What were the biggest changes on there?
So what I changed is the first part is the description. Apparently there's a 10-foot radius around the hangar that the tenant is responsible for, so I just said, let's include that so that they know that that's their space. And then there's a provision for an option to renew. After the first 50 years, they can renew for another 10. And the way I changed it basically to say that the rate will increase by 10 cents per square foot. My concern was if you say we'll negotiate that later, then there's really no sense in saying you have an option if it's always going to be negotiable. You should just set the rate now, or say it's going to increase by consumer price index or whatever cost of living adjustment, some set standard. Those are the only real changes I made to the lease.
Before this lease, what was the length of the lease? Or
It's been changed over time because, there was legislation that wouldn't allow you to have a lease for over a certain period of time. And then when it did change to the 50-year, Preston came and asked if, you know, they would be willing to extend that. I want to say it was, I'd have to look back, but I want to say it was like maybe 20 years
Yeah, I recall seeing 25.
or 20.
And so the reason the subcommittee wanted this extended is that for those that are actually investing in hangars, they wanted to know that it was gonna be, if they built one, it was gonna be available to them for a longer period of time. So that was one of the largest suggestions that came out of the sub-airport committee. Okay, any other questions?
And is 50-year pretty common, Nathan, as far as that?
That's a pretty good length, yeah. I mean, I do think you should expect it to be more than 20, but
Yeah,
whatever other term you want.
especially if they're having the investment up.
Right,
And I,
because we anticipate that we are gonna have some hangars built up there soon.
I did send his revisions to 3 of their pilots that, you know, are on that committee, and they commented they was fine, so.
Because those 3 were the subcommittee that brought it from where it was to here. Then it was moved on to him and then back to them again, so they approved that. Okay, with that being said, could I have, oh,
Sorry, do they have the right to sell it at least if somebody else? So they don't have an airplane anymore or anything, and 50-year lease, they can sell it?
mhm,
Okay.
that's what they indicated.
So how would that work then, Nathan? Would they then just assume the remaining lease with that person for that and then have to do one?
Yep, they would just step into the shoes of the original tenant.
Okay,
And that was done by Preston with Dave's Hangers, so.
Okay. Any other questions? Good questions.
Does it have to be an airplane stored in there?
Priority is for aircraft.
motorcycles.
There's
Jerry.
verbiage in there for that. You can have some personal, you know, which
Okay,
know,
no,
Preston commented that, you know, like he keeps his snow removal equipment in with the airplanes too, so you know, I mean, those are things you.
But it's primarily for the
Primary.
aircraft.
Okay, any other questions or comments? Okay, would I have a motion to approve then?
So moved.
Mike
Second.
moved and Jerry seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. All right, in front of us too is a cannabis resolution authorizing the cancellation of a medical cannabis dispensary application. Nathan, would you kind of help us through this or give us some background?
Yeah, it sounds as though Puppies had originally applied for a dispensary license, but they weren't able to secure their location. They had paid $2,500 application fee, which if it's approved, it's supposed to be then another $2,500. Well, and then when that location fell through, they kind of reapplied, but never completed their application. So it's just been outstanding. They never paid they never paid the additional application fee. And so they were never certified as being in compliance with local ordinance. The state has never given them a registration certificate or whatever. So they can't go and operate, but right now it's just tied up, I guess. Your one dispensary license is not available. So I think it's appropriate for that to cancel that for the applicant essentially not completing their application process. I did suggest that the council give them notice and an opportunity to come and plead their case and say, we want to keep it, we want to whatever, if they think they're in compliance. So it wouldn't just be automatic, hey, it's gone, but to say, you can come to the next meeting and request a hearing. But that after 30 days that the finance officer or whomever is the official in charge of that process could cancel that application and make it available, I guess, for anybody else.
And that's why that clause is there, that puppies may request a hearing before the city council to dispute the findings, so that if we did approve this resolution this evening, then they would have, that's what you're referring to.
Yeah, they could, or they could just walk away from it. If they abandon it and don't request a hearing, then it's gone anyway.
Okay. Any other questions? Would I have a motion to approve resolution number 2508, authorizing cancellation of a medical cannabis dispensary application? Stan is moved.
Question on it.
Okay,
Do we put application on it? Cause I wanted to say. I saw license on here.
Yeah, I initially had drawn this as a revocation of their license, but then, kind of after learning a little bit more, it doesn't sound like a license was ever issued. A license has to be issued after the state gives them a registration. And because they never complied with local ordinance or local requirements and paid their fee, they never got a state registration, so they don't actually have a license yet.
So do we need to change that in this resolution here where it says whereas the city wishes to revoke Puppies LLC license? Do we need to change license to application then?
Yep, the whole resolution has been revised, tweaked a little bit to just say, we're gonna pull their application instead of revoking the license. But fair question, yeah.
Second.
okay. Okay, Stan. Is that right? Is it
Yeah,
Stan
Stan.
moved and Zach is seconded. Any other questions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. All right, believe it or not, we're thinking about fireworks, 4th of July. But this is an order that we do in December. How come is that?
You get additional 15% product if you order this early. And so, last year, there was a supplement to the order from the previous year, so it's been 2 years since we've actually submitted a full order for fireworks. In the past, it's usually been $9,000, but then there's kind of been a supplement of like 2,000 to it. 1,200 and stuff, so I guess I would recommend if you guys were willing to, purchase $10,000 worth of fireworks and then get an additional 15% product if you, and I'll bring that bill like in November, since it needs to be ordered by December, so.
Think you can use that much up?
Two. And we've been doing this for, I mean,
Like, this would be our fifth time ordering fireworks.
Okay.
And I don't need anything on it, I just wanted to kind of get a consensus that you would approve ordering it in time to get the 15%.
that's 25's budget.
Yes.
Okay, so she's asking for consensus. You're good with that, Stan?
Yep.
Drew?
Yep.
Yep. Okay, so it's a consensus of the council to go ahead and order 10,000 and take advantage of the 15% plus. All right. Also, Zach participated in a community center committee that met with the American Legion and the VFW. It was great because we had, I believe, 5 or 6 of the VFW and American Legion individuals there. And the request that came out of that meeting, because the agreement has always been with the American Legion, South Dakota Post 246, and veterans, the VFW Post 9120 of Quinn, asked to be a part of this agreement. Is that how you
Yep, and BFW's been using it for a long time, you know, and it's usually them that's using it the most, and they have more members and stuff too, so I think it's a good idea.
And what it does is agree that they can have free use of the community building for 24 days each calendar year. So. Any other questions or thoughts on that?
And that's never been an issue before.
No.
Place to do turkey bingo.
Yes.
Well, I was just wondering if we were getting close to that, if we needed to modify that, but I didn't think we were probably too close to
No.
that.
Okay, they use it like Memorial Day weekend, and then like he said, the turkey bingo in November, and then meetings throughout, but not real. Okay, so with that being said, would I have a motion to approve the community center agreement that adds the VFW?
Move to approve.
Mike moved and Jerry seconded. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, motion carries. All right, senior finance officer report.
So I shared the governance letter with you from the auditors, and this is just, something that you need to review. So we're getting close that they will be finalizing the 24 audit. I wouldn't be surprised if I bring that next meeting for approval. And then, Terry Lynch has been talking about the lawnmower at the cemetery. I'm not a mechanic type person, but something broke on the underneath. And so he went to take it up to get it fixed. And they can't get parts for it, even though it's only like 6 years old. He's gonna see if it can actually be welded, and he knows he has time. But I just wanted to let you know that if he comes across a good deal or comes, one way or the other, getting something decided, I would want to reach out to the cemetery committee person to review this and give approval. And that actually is Jerry on that. So you guys.
What kind of mower is that, Garrett? Is it a
I
zero
don't
turn?
know, yeah, it's a zero turn, I don't know. I did it years ago and it was just like a Dixon and it's not real big,
Yeah.
but it's a zero turn.
He said, they have to be, they had one up there for 46, is that a measurement of deck or something?
Yeah, 46-inch deck.
He said that's just way too big for the part where all the headstone, he said, clear to east, they could, but he said the other area is just, that's too big of a mower for that, so he likes the size of it, but if he can't get it repaired, and he knows he can't get a piece ordered that it needs to be, then he'll have to be looking at new ones, so I just wanted to mention that I would be reaching out to.
Good time of year to buy a mower.
Yeah. And as I stated back in the August 7th meeting or whatever it was working with an HR specialist who had come for a lunch and learn or coffee and learn to review our handbook policy. And we're getting really close to it, but we haven't quite got it finalized yet. Something that I learned down at the Municipal League conference is it was mentioned that should consider putting an AI policy in there, because that's getting to be such a big thing now, and make sure that, it's used for the right reasons and not to be sharing information that is not shareable. So we'll be really close to that, and hopefully by the next meeting I can bring that back for approval. The Municipal
Well,
League.
actually, our process that we were, okay, so we will get that part added, because that had just in the last few days. We'll send this out to the Personnel Committee first to review. And we will send the new, because there's things in there that we learned that needed to be in a handbook, like nursing mothers, and that certainly wasn't in our other one. So anyway, we'll send the old one, we'll send the new one, and you can compare and look and see the changes that she has recommended to us. So you will have that opportunity to review those before we move forward. We won't just like bring it to you at one meeting. It's gonna be a process, so that you have an opportunity to be involved. Okay, and thank you, Carol.
Next thing, so Katie and I attended the municipal conference last week. I stepped away as president, handed the gavel over to the next person, Leland, Trakel. I struggle with his last name. He's the mayor of Roscoe. I will be still serving as past president, and there is a meeting coming up October 20th with the strategic plan that we'll be working on. So just wanted to update you on that. I didn't really get in on a lot of sessions, because I was kept busy doing the duties that are kind of given to me during this conference and stuff. So I can't really update on that. I don't know if Katie has anything to report, but we'll let her work on that if she needs to. While I was gone also, so the property that is west of the transfer station, that was always leased by whoever leased the transfer station from the city. And we had somebody come in and they changed the utilities because it was always with the person who was leasing. But they are looking at selling it, the way I understand, because Cheyenne has asked about if there's access easement on it, because they have to drive on our driveway to get to it. And I kind of visited with Garrett and he wasn't aware of anything, and I'm not sure if there ever being anything. So I have reached out to the engineer to look into that and to see about drawing something up for that. So I don't know if I'll have that ready for next meeting, but so there's that's been happening. And then last meeting, I think I was supposed to get you my annual duty calendar that I had been working on, trying to give some updates, and I didn't quite get it done for that. So I've included it in your packet for this meeting. And if you guys have any questions on it, or you want me to print you a copy, I can sure do that for you. But just give you a time to review those, what is done on a monthly and daily basis. So that's all I had, unless you have any questions for me.
Thank you for getting that list.
Yeah. Amazing what has to be done each and every month to stay on course, so.
It was nice for us all to be able to see that.
Absolutely. So thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, Katie, finance report.
Sure, I don't have a ton, but I did appreciate the opportunity to attend the municipality conference. It was, the sessions were really informative, and the networking is always really valuable too, and put names with faces of people you work with just over the phone and things every day. So I don't know what the property tax one was interesting, and yeah, it's a lot of information thrown at you all at once. So, but it was definitely great experience to go. So, and then also before I left for the conference, the day before, I went to a cybersecurity workshop in Rapid, which was really interesting. Kind of, it outlined all of the different ways that you can get your information taken and your systems can get attacked, and what that looks like, and also like the resources that are available through the state and the steps that you're supposed to take if that does happen. And there are a lot of resources available, and then they also really encourage a plan being made, and that plan is mostly just a step by step of, this is, you know, phone numbers and who you call if these things happen, and they had some really good templates and things with all kind of outlines. We worked on that, and I'm going to continue working on that to get one for us, just in the event that that would ever happen. And then I'll bring that back to a meeting in the future whenever we get that done to get that. So that's all I have.
Well, thank you for going and learning that, because it's certainly topic of concern. You hear about it every day. So, okay, Garrett, do you have a public works?
But Carolyn asked me questions about the property down there by the transfer station. I was confused on where the property thing is, but we went down there and took the cage apart around the cardboard deal, and we were gonna move it, but then I noticed that the property's quite a ways over, so we're gonna put it back up, but it needed to be updated, and there's a lot of broken boards on it and stuff, so, and a lot of trash around there, so Trevor and Brandon did that the other day, took it down and cleaned up, and we're gonna put some more gravel in and build it up a little bit and clean it up down there. Today, we actually were on the roof all day long, sealing around all the
This
heating,
roof? Oh, okay.
heating and cooling units and all the exhaust fans, and we sealed up probably 40 years of sealant on it when we found a lot of water underneath that, so hopefully we won't have any more little leaks in the roof. That's about it.
It was a darn nice day to do that.
So just a quick question, what, Garrett, do you suppose the benefit of leaving those recyclable containers over in that corner versus moving them over? Is it a limited space or?
Well, I really couldn't come up with a good area where with the wind, the wind comes out and it just couldn't put it anywhere where that fence would be effective to catch anything that might blow out of there. And we we thought about going down lower, but then that's when people sneak down there and fill it full of stuff that's not supposed to go there because it's down out of sight. So we just figured it'd be better there. Pretty visible, when people there.
Yeah, I just didn't know with that building there and the ability to haul stuff if we ever had to, having it close to that, but the wind makes sense, it's kind of protected down in that pocket.
Yeah, to have your fence, you'd have to have the back of the fence to the road, by our building or back behind, and then people would have to go around, so it just didn't make a whole lot of sense.
Because when they're full, then keepers just pick those up and empty them and take them, right?
Yep.
Okay. Questions? Anything else for, yeah,
Did you find the property from then?
No, I didn't, didn't even try, honestly, but there's a lot of concrete around there, and I'll take a look tomorrow, but I thought it was in the driveway, but then after looking at Rapid Map, it's over by, I don't know if you know where those big transformers are.
Yeah.
It's on the west side of those transformers.
That's what I thought it was a little closer to the building than one might think by
Yeah.
looking at that road and stuff.
Yeah, and I don't know where I got that it was in the driveway, but. Nope, so we'll keep that cleaned up, and we store a lot of stuff in there now, winter stuff. And trailers that we don't use a lot, we keep down there, so it's nice to get stuff inside.
Yeah.
Like the trailers, cause
Tired.
that sun just kills the tire.
okay.
Mosquitoes are back, I'm sorry.
Are you gonna continue to bog then?
Yes.
Okay. Okay,
Yep, just keep getting enough little shots of rain here and there to keep them alive.
well, that's good to know, and moisture is good. We're
Yes.
probably gonna get even more, but a different form of it soon, so. Okay, thank you, Garrett. All right, I want, under my mayor's report, I want to congratulate Carolyn on her significant, position as being, president of South Dakota Municipal League. She carried out her duties extremely well, made you all. We're very proud of you, Carolyn, for what you've done. You served that organization well, and I know you were very busy, but you carried everything out, extremely, yeah. Just did a great job, so thank you and congratulations
Thank you.
for that. Okay, and then, also to, add on to Roshan's, when Kelly Rulon reached out to me about trying to find a farmer in the Wall area to host this trade commission, I didn't really understand the significance of what that was. Kelly is the South Dakota International Trade Commissioner. She serves on that. And to fit this scenario, she asked particularly for a Wall area wheat farmer. What I learned then was on September 18th, the US Secretary of Ag, which is Rollins, in Washington DC with the president, had actually signed a $10 billion 4-year commitment for United States soybeans, corn, wheat, and beef to go to Taiwan. And then the very next night, they were in Pierre and met with Governor Roden and the South Dakota Secretary of Ag. And they signed an attempt to buy South Dakota wheat. So this turned out to be a much larger situation than I was aware of at the beginning. There was a larger group, but 9 of the Taiwanese were the ones that came to Wall. And I did do a meet and greet at the drugstore, and the trade person that was kind of in charge of it from Denver said to me, when we asked where we should visit in South Dakota, they said, do the Wall drugstore. And she said, why would you go to a drugstore? But after they got here, they said, oh my gosh, we see why we should go to Wall drugstore. So I thought that was especially interesting. So yes, Tyrell did a great job, showed them the seed, showed them the wheat in the field, the planters, the sprayers, the combines, let those guys get in the combines. It was incredible. And with all of his, the timing was great. All the equipment was there in his yard, and he just did a great job of representing young South Dakota wheat farmers. So then they did go on to Mount Rushmore and then come back through. But this was just one segment of that. There was another group of the 9 that had gone to, or this group actually was going on to Montana and Utah. Idaho, and then there was another group that was 2 other groups that were working in other parts of the United States. So what a treat to be asked to host them in Wall, number 1, and I hope that Tyrell gets to sell wheat to Taiwan because of the effort that he made to do a really good job of representing us. So it turned out to be huge. President was involved. Governor was involved, and then Roshan did a knockout job of hosting them. Another meeting that we attended recently, Garrett, Brandon, and I, the Western Dakota Regional Water meeting in Hill City. They are checking the boxes to keep getting that water moved out here. We learned where the route is. Garrett, can you kind of tell them where that route is coming across?
It would come out of Pier and then follow 34. And then just stay north of like Midland, Phillip, and Wall. And I think there would be a booster station at Wasta along the old highway there, and then into the hills on the north side of I-90.
So they're gonna be close, so we should get some benefit out of that.
Huge.
Yeah, huge.
Like, what's our time frame nowadays? It's like probably 25 years, I think, but. Yeah, some of the pipe is 72-inch pipe, steel pipe, so I mean, it's big stuff. Big, yeah, and the lift stations, the pump stations are gonna be pretty big too, and will bring, I'd say, quite a few jobs to the area and Wall, because of building on north of Wall, so. If they keep everything.
They did appoint a new executive director, that's Chris Consett. Cheryl Chapman stepped back, but she'll continue to lobby for them. And then as I looked at the charts that day at that meeting, I noticed that all the other communities are at class one. There's only two that are class two memberships, and the difference is $300. So unless somebody objects, I think we need to get higher on the list when you're talking about who's gonna get water in 20 years and who's not. And so unless you object, I think we need to move up to that $1,500 level. Anybody have a problem with that? No. Okay, awesome. Right, that concludes my,
Mary, would you like to do any commentary on any of the chamber events you attended in September?
well, I didn't make it to Wall in the Fall.
Yeah,
Okay,
I just feel like you commented on every other city organization's events. You did make it to one of them though.
I do attend your meetings, your chamber luncheons
And the
on a regular
appreciation supper.
basis. Excuse me?
And the appreciation supper.
And the homecoming appreciation supper, I was there. I was helpful in making sure you got an additional grill. I happened to be in the right spot at the right time so that you could use the rodeo booster grill. So yes, I did do that. Yes.
Thank you for that. I just wanted you to recognize that the chamber also had events.
Okay.
Since the last meeting.
Okay, thank you. All right. Are there any items for discussion that need to be addressed at this point? All right, the next council meeting will be October 21st at 6:30. That's a Tuesday night. It's a change.
Yes, yes.
It is a change, so please mark that on your calendars to be Tuesday, October 21st at 6:30. We do have a need or a request for executive session. Is that still in place? So would you,
I make a motion to go into executive session for the purpose of discussing legal personnel issues according to SDCL 1-25-2
Second.
it's been moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. Okay, I call us out of executive session. Is there any action following executive session that we need to take into account? If not, seeing none, the meeting is adjourned.